Okay, hello, welcome to the channel. So my name is Victor, and I'm going to be your anchor for this training. So this is the product design, the UI UX design series, and we're looking at some basics to help us get to start using the tools. Now, anybody can use the tool. Anybody can use XD. Anybody can use Figma. Anybody can use Draw.io. Any of the design tools that a typical product designer is going to use. But what is most important is that before you start using the tools, you want to understand the principles of design. You want to understand what is going to guide you using the tool. Because if you don't understand the concepts behind why you're doing what you're doing, or how you should do what you're supposed to do, and when you should do whatever you're supposed to do, it then means you're going to come out with maybe nice designs, but maybe poor experience, or the other way around. So having these fundamentals is crucial in you becoming a better and a professional, a sought-after product designer. So in the previous series, we looked at what is product design. We looked at differences between product design, that is UI, UX, and UI and UX, the user interface and user experience. We looked at some of the tools like Figma and XD. Now we want to proceed further to start looking at the process. I think previously we looked at the process and we said the process involves empathizing, definition, ideating, prototyping, and testing. Now, we want to get to the very first stage, which has to do with we trying to empathize, we trying to do questionnaire design, trying to get data. And just on the side note, you should understand that there is an overlap of skill set between a BA, a DA, and a product designer. I mean, a business analyst, a data analyst, and a product designer. They have overlapping skills. If you've worked in an enterprise environment, if you've worked on large projects, if you worked on entire projects that very that tend to solve problems. I don't just mean a just basic straightforward UI project or just basic website. I mean a project that is well, let's say between intermediate and advanced. Then you appreciate the overlapping skill set between a product designer, a business analyst, and a data analyst. And one of those overlapping skill sets is data. A product designer needs data to act. A BA needs data to act. And also a DA, a data analyst, needs product data to act. So data is very crucial because data is what will help you understand the user needs, the user behaviors. So the question now is how do you get that data so that you can tell, how do you get that data so that you can tell how best to deliver your service, right? How best to do your design? How best can you do your design? How do you tell that, okay, you are going to do it this way or you're going to do it that way? So let's look at researching user needs and behavior. So understanding user needs and behavior is critical to creating a successful product or service that meets user needs. Now, we don't just want to create products. We want to create successful products and services. And we don't want the success to be out of our own idea about what success is. We want the success to be based on the needs and expectation of the users, of the end user. So we can say this project, like I do tell some of my students, either in software development or especially students doing programming, doing software, doing applications, doing websites. Now, you don't want a situation whereby you get a brief from a client and you just go all out and complete the project and now tell the client, okay, this is your project. Most likely, you're going to be told, this is not what I want. Why? You didn't research, you didn't understand the user's needs, the user's behavior, You didn't get to understand what is expected at the end of the day. So you can finish up that website, you can finish up that design, you can finish up that UI, you can do that prototyping, you can do all of those things you are doing. It doesn't mean that is what the user is going to need. It doesn't mean that is what the expectations are. So as a professional, as a pro UI UX designer, you want to follow the methodology. You want to follow the process. You want to go through the path that is going to ensure that you get the desired result at the end with less effort, little time or limited time, and of course, with a better result at the end of the day. Now, what are the methods through which we can understand user needs and behavior? So we have user surveys. I'm going to be exploring them. We have interviews, we have focus groups, we have usability testing, we have analytics. So that's where data comes in. All of these guys are data anyway. In user surveys, what we're trying to do is that we're going to do questionnaire design, right? So it looks like something like this. Just a second. It looks like something like this. This is a survey. So let's examine, this is hotjar.com/product-design/questions. User surveys are essential for product design. They help you to know your customers better, let you test your assumptions and ideas, and help you feel confident that your product is meeting changing user needs. Now, let's look at a few things, just a second. So we talked about the product design process. And I said, one way you can get this stuff is, this data is survey questions. Now, how do you ask questions? How do you ask questions from your users? You need to understand how to get data to be a better product designer. Because if you don't carve out your questions properly, then you're going to get answers that you might not be able to use. For persons that are into data analytics, into data science, into machine learning, all of that, they understand the very great importance of getting the right data in the right format from the users without bias, objectively, not opinionated, but something, even if it is opinionated, something that is a little bit broad that can help you decide how to deliver that particular project. Now, there is a whole guide on how to do questionnaires. If you check on the channel, I'm going to reference it in the description. You'll see, I think I explained a questionnaire design methodology. But for us that are trying to be product designers, I'm going to sum it up in a very straightforward process. Some of the principles is that you don't want to be subjective. You don't want to give leading questions. You don't want to propose a question to the users. You want to actually either make it a multiple choice questions. You want to keep it short, right? Then if you want to have open-ended questions, that is questions they have to fill by themselves, then you want to make it few. Out of 10 questions, you just want to have two maximum. So the other questions should have responses, should have like an objective where they're going to pick. And the responses, you must make sure the responses you are well researched. The idea is that you want to be able to help them get your right response, get you right responses so that you can use that to now develop your product. Look at some of these examples. What brought you here today? I wouldn't suggest this anyway. You can ask this in a more better format. Or you can ask things like reasons why you're using this product, and then you have some responses, then they can now pick. Please provide a brief description of your role and main work tasks. Now, this is for a product. Here is going to be descriptive. This is open-ended, so they will feel, because you have quantitative analysis, you have qualitative analysis. In qualitative analysis is textual. So you want to get sentiment. Data analysts will normally call it sentiment analysis. You want to understand the sentiment. You want to understand the whys they are taking such decisions. So that's why you leave it open-ended. If you are doing a questionnaire design for a product, let's say for a software or for a mobile app or for a website or for a branding for a company or for anything of such, and you're asking questions to your users or your stakeholders, at times you want to get questions that are open-ended, questions that you don't have to decide what they pick as the responses, so they can tell their opinion. How did you hear about our products? That can help you in marketing, because the product designer's job is to tell a story about the brand in a visual format. And that can also help the marketing team to better market the product. Which other type of service or tools have you tried? Is this your first time buying our product? All of these things is to help to know why people take the decisions they make, and it can help the product designer to be able to deliver products. Now, another thing you can ask is, which features do you use the most, right? In a product or in a website or an application that you are designing. This is going to help you when you are designing the user experience at the end of the day to know which stuff to prioritize. That's why you're going to see that in most websites, like this website I am on now, you're going to see the logo, products, solutions, pricing, case study, resources. They are ordered like 300-400 pages in this website. You're not going to see it here. It's in order of priority, right? The priority tells us what we should tell our users or what we should push out to our user in our design. Because if we don't get those priority, then we'll get it all wrong. So you see that you have, just like our website, for instance, the Southtech website. If you check through, let me open it a second. Now you see that for every website that is built, you might have hundreds of pages. You might have thousands of articles within the website, right? So you always see that for this, for instance, and every other website, only the most important pages are presented, right? Only the most important pages are presented, right? And the footer area, if you're doing your designs, right? This call to action, we call it CTA. That's why I tell product designers to learn a little bit about marketing, a little bit about human psychology, a little bit about design thinking, a little bit about data and analytics. This skill set helps you to become a better product designer. You're going to create products that are very, very intuitive. Intuitive, I mean, anybody can pick up that website that you design, anybody that picked up that mobile app that you designed, that you did a UI for, anybody's going to pick up that brand that you've created, and they are going to intuitively use that service without any assistance. Because this has to do with psychology, this has to do with data, this has to do with design thinking, this has to do with delivering what the user needs, right? This has to do to delivering what the user needs. And when you deliver what the user needs, it gives you a better experience. So you have quite a lot of pages, but you see, in order of priority, if you check the Southtech website also, you see you have a logo, you have a contact number, you have a WhatsApp chat box, you have few pages, right, on the menu. You also have few pages towards the end of the footer area and the rest. But you see that you still have quite a lot of pages within the site. So as a product designer, you're going to be designing user interfaces, you're going to be creating experiences. And what we're trying to say is that one of the ways you can do that is to ask questions. You want to ask questions, and the questions that you ask will tell what you are going to design at the end of the day. Okay, let's try it on with the questions, open-ended questions. Then we talked about straightforward questions. Did you run into any problem while browsing? Please describe positive, negative aspect of your experience using our product. What's the main reason you choose our product? Why did you choose not to sign up for our product or trial today? Why are you leaving the page? All of these things provide enough data to help create a better product, right? You can have close-ended questions. Your close-ended questions are going to be like a questionnaire format. Have you heard of our product before visiting our site today? So that one, you're going to have options, right? You're going to have options. Then you have ordinal scaled questions where you have a rank. Things like in terms of experience, at times we call this Likert scale. Hate, dislike, neutral, like, love, or agrees, strongly agree, moderate or not decided. Then you have, and when you're asking questions, there should always be like a balance between the negative options and the positive options. So you don't want to have 3 responses. You want to have 5, or you can have 3 responses. You can have 5 responses. You can have 7 responses. You don't want to have 4 responses, because if I have 4 responses, I cannot have a middle ground. If I have 2 responses, is either a yes or a no. And you don't want the yes or no, because most of the times a yes or no does not tell you what the user is actually. At times the user can be at the middle, can be towards the positive, but not the far end to the positive. So in user research, in survey questions, you're trying to understand the user so that it can help you create better products. Like I said, I will drop a link to my extensive video on questionnaire design because it's very key, it's very important. So that's what you call Likert scale. So 5 or 7 points. So a 7 point is going to be something like this: very dissatisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, slightly dissatisfied. Let me see if I can get a Likert scale. Likert scale example. Just a second. Images so that you can see some standard. Okay, good. This is the 5-point scale, but I think let me get a combination of 5 points and 7 points. Okay, let me use this. Just a second. This is 5 points. Okay, well, let me use this. So let's examine this. So if I'm conducting a survey for a particular product, a website or a software or an application or a brand I want to create, I want to develop, and I'm asking questions. So these questions are to help me as a product designer to be able to create a better product. So if I want to check for satisfaction, what will I be looking at for? I'm asking questions like, okay, the new features that we have on the website, what do you think about the feature A, feature B, feature C? So you're having options like very dissatisfied, dissatisfied, neither dissatisfied or satisfied. So this is a middle ground. You now have satisfied and very satisfied. Likelihood, what's the likelihood of you subscribing for a premium product or something of that nature? So you have very unlikely, neutral. So you have level of concern, you have agreement, you have frequency of usage of a particular service, a particular product. Then you have awareness, maybe how aware somebody is with respect to a particular feature, a particular product. Then you also have familiarity, how familiar somebody is with, let's say, a feature. I can still use a feature or a service. That's quality. Maybe how is our service? This phone, the application service. So you can use any of these 5. Then you have importance. So this is to give you an idea on how to ask Likert questions. Because in your project, in your work going forward, before we start doing using the tools, we're going to take a typical or hypothetical software company or a website or a brand or an application, we will first do some questionnaire design, do some research, get opinions of persons. Then we'll now start turning those things based on the requirements we have in our brief into designs. So that's what the process looks like. So look at something like this. How would you rate your experience? Hate, dislike, neutral. And at times, after this question, you can proceed with the next question that have to now do with what do you think? What are your suggestions? Or like a suggestion box. So at the end of the day, a product designer is to solve a business problem, like I said. Your goal is to make sure that you can deliver a better website, a better product, a better brand. Look, I think that's, I can stop here, I can pause here with respect to uh, user surveys. Then another thing is interviews. Interviews, it can be phone calls, it can be it can be one-on-one, it can be the researcher led, it can be, like I said, over the phone. You want to interview, you want to get the opinion of persons. So it's slightly different from user surveys. Surveys are going to be questionnaires. Focus group are typically discussion groups where people, you have 2, 3, 4, 5 persons, they gather together, they discuss based on some points, then they have a summary. At the end of the summary, they now have a final decision to make. In usability testing, you now have maybe an MVP, minimum viable product of that particular software or that particular prototype that you have created. You want to send it out to users to like test. So this is usability testing. How easy is it for them to use it? So you are going to get an information from the response they give to you after they used. I think this is synonymous to quality assurance, software testing, and the rest, because we want to check to see if what we have at the beginning of the project as our plan is what we are getting now, so that we can see how to change, how to adapt for a final end product. Then in analytics, when you do surveys, when you do interviews, when you create a focus group and you discuss on how do we want the website, how do we want the brand, how do we want the project, at the end of the day, you're going to start doing some analysis. You're going to start doing some charts, some pie charts, some bar charts on how many persons says this product it's nice, how many persons say this product it's not nice, how many persons say this product needs more improvement, how many persons. So that is analytics, that's data. That's why I said there is a link between product design, data analytics, and business requirements or business analyst. These 3 guys are going to work together to deliver a better product, and they're all going to make use of data. For instance, for BA students, BA for business analysts, they will normally learn all of these things. They will learn how to do user surveys, interviews, focus groups, usability testing, and also do analysis. Now, researching user needs and behaviors. User surveys can provide an invaluable insight, right? Because of demographics, preferences, and behaviors. That's why if you're asking your questions, you want to put like an age bracket. You might not want to ask people their age. You can say, okay, what's your age? You can say 18 to 22, 23 to 25, 36. Now, if you watch the video I have on the channel about questionnaire design, I'm going to reference it. It's going to tell you how to do better questions, right? Then you have, if you have that age bracket up to like say 60, 70, when you're trying to get who likes and who doesn't like, you can do a comparative analysis on the age bracket and what their preferences are and what their behaviors are based on what they answered. That's where data analytics comes in. So this data, you can use it to now finally design. That's why you see some companies, they have products for the aged, you have products for the effort for the young products. Most brands do this because they do a lot of surveys, they do a lot of research, they do a lot of surveys to help them understand who needs their product, when they need their products, how they want their products delivered, and they can now meet users at their point of needs. Of course, interview is going to be in-depth insights because now the person is expressing wholly. The person is not tied into some options to select, like in a survey. You can get their pain points. Pain points will typically mean their needs, what they want solved. Um, let's say, for instance, persons of big size, persons on the bigger side will love big shoes. We love some of their pain points that they don't easily get into a boutique or get into a shoe shop and get their size. That's a pain point. So doing questionnaires can help you understand the pain points of persons in different classes to be able to better deliver a product. Same thing for a software or for an application. If you know what the pain points are with people using a particular app, it cannot help you design a better user interface. Then, of course, you have focus group, user opinions, preferences through groups. So somebody is a facilitator, somebody leads discussion, provides feedback. They cannot have a summary. That's what you call a focus group. In usability testing, your services are given to real users. They can now identify usability issues, and so that we can what's it called, have a better experience. And of course, analytics provide insights. Look at patterns, they look at behaviors, trends based on the data that you have. So you use pie chart, bar chart. And when we get to that stage in our learning, we're going to all do that. Everybody's going to get a question designed. We're going to send it out within 1 week. We're going to get responses, and we're going to see, we can use Google Form, we can use Microsoft Forms, we can use Typeform, we can use any type of form to send out the questions, get the responses. Most of these forms, like Google Form and the rest, they can also already provide those analytics. They can tell us how many persons did this, how many persons did that. For most of us that use Google Form or Typeform or Microsoft Form or any type of form software, when you send out the form, once it comes back, you can see the analysis already. Okay, so we have some tags. So we are going to pause now. In the subsequent videos, we are going to be looking at wireframe and prototyping. So at the end of this module 1, so we are going to be doing some basic designs on, let's say, Figma. But before we do that, we are going to be doing some questionnaire design. We are going to be doing some surveys. Each person, we're going to pick a particular product we want to design, a particular application we want to design, or a particular service we want to start rendering. We're going to go through the ideation process. We're going to go through a questionnaire process. Then we can now start designing that based on the user research that we've done, and of course, some design principles. And we're going to start learning how to use basics of Figma. Thank you very much. If you have questions, don't forget to ask, and I will attend to those questions.